Hey everybody, Brant here with Nutrition First Coaching. So we got a great question, one I get all the time, and what is protein important for? And let's attack this from the example of weight loss and why we need protein. You can check out the blog this week too. It'll get into a little more detail about exact numbers and a little bit about the biochemistry and what protein is for and different studies that can be cited for that. But let's really talk about why protein in terms of weight loss is the king. It's the main lever we can use in terms of quality of food and looking at the macronutrients to really pull that switch to improve our metabolism and to help with weight loss, but also do some of the things that we're going to talk about here. Number one being 90% of protein we take in goes to just processes in our body. We need it for everything, repairing connective tissues, cells, artery walls, you name it. All the protein we eat goes to those processes, and only 10% of that goes into our bloodstream and is responsible for actually new tissue growth, so actually building muscle. The rest of it's trying to preserve lean tissue and repair all the damage we get on a daily basis from all the things we do. So that's why, number one, protein is super important, and why protein in terms of the amino acid profile is something that's essential. We have to get it out of our diet or we would be deficient and eventually die from it. The next thing we're going to look at is protein's great for weight loss because it has the highest thermic effect of feeding, or the thermic effect of food. So it takes a lot of energy to digest protein, a significant amount more than fat and a little bit more than carbohydrates depending on the quality. So think about it as maybe if you got a high protein diet, you're getting an extra 60 or 80 calories burned just by digesting that. That's a few chocolate chips, so not insignificant. And then if we look at the most satisfying macro, so the one that makes us stay full the longest, the one that, if you eat a big steak, you're just like, oh man, I feel full, and it takes a few hours or more to digest. And so that can help when you're in a calorie deficit to keep you full longer and keep you satisfied longer as well. The next one is it's hard to store protein as body fat. It's hard to use it as fuel in terms of energy, but it's really hard as a chemical process for our body to take excess protein and turn it into body fat. We're more likely to try to use as much as we can and then excrete it out. So as long as you're a healthy person, healthy kidneys, healthy digestive system, a little bit of extra protein is not going to be immediately turned into stored energy or body fat. It's probably going to be excreted, and we're going to use a big majority of it as well. So if you're going to go over a little bit on one of your macros, protein's the one to do. The next one is preserving muscle when you're in a calorie deficit. So you start to take in less calories than you need. You're below that maintenance level. We'll talk about exactly how to find that in the future here too. And once you're below that level, your body starts to think, okay, I'm going to have to use some of this other fuel to keep everything going. Your basal metabolic rate, like we talked about, it's got to keep that going. It's also got to help just kind of repairing the everyday tissue. That goes back to only 10% of that protein can be used to build new muscle. So if we're low on protein and we're under eating our calories to try to lose some stored energy or body fat, then that's when we can start to lose a little bit of lean muscle mass. And we don't want that on a diet. It's relatively challenging, if not technically impossible, to build muscle when you're in a calorie deficit, but we definitely don't want to be losing this hard muscle we're trying to gain when we're trying to lift weights and do all these things to get the muscle. We don't want to lose it. So it's expensive tissue, and when we're in a calorie deficit, we need that extra protein in the diet to maintain that lean body mass or that lean muscle. And you can do this by looking at DEXA scans or in-body scans and getting that picture of your internal health, so to speak, and your body fat and your muscle percentage, and make sure you're doing the right things in your diet. The next thing is, how much do you actually need? So if you're in a little bit of a calorie surplus, maybe you're trying to build some muscle, you need less protein. But since we're talking about losing body fat, then you need more protein. So I like to go with an easy number of at least 0.9 grams per pound of body weight. Don't worry about lean mass and all that. You know, if you're a 200-pound person, then you're gonna need 180 grams of protein, up to even a gram per pound of body weight. So if you're a 200-pound person, then you're gonna go to that point of even 200 grams per pound of body weight, or excuse me, 200 grams total for the day. If you're up in that category where, you know, you're trying to lose a significant amount of weight, then you're gonna look at it more from your body's already kind of in this calorie surplus. You have a lot of excess calories to burn. So you can go in that 0.7 or 0.8 range and almost look at it from like maybe what your target weight is gonna be, and that's where you're gonna set your protein. So you can be in that 0.7 or 0.8 gram range. And then as you start losing more weight, then you can start adding a little bit more protein in. And then that again will start to kick the metabolism up, you know, and pull that important lever of more protein. The other thing I get a lot is timing. Like, do I have to go lift weights or work out and then I have to get a bunch of my protein in right away? You know, there's some benefit to that. As long as it's with a little bit of carbohydrate, your body's gonna get into the system quicker. It's gonna stay in that catabolic state. You know, and we don't want the tissue to go away, so to speak. But as long as you're eating good protein throughout the day, you're gonna be okay. Your body's gonna need a little bit more around working out, but don't make it a huge focus. If you're getting protein spread out throughout the day, say you need 150 grams on a daily basis and you're eating 3 meals with 50 grams in it, that's great. You're over that 30 to 35 gram threshold. You're in that area where you're gonna kick your body into that muscle protein synthesis stage, and it needs a certain amount of some of the different amino acids to really kick you into that stage. So if you're eating these small 10 and 15 gram snacks of protein here and there, but never eating that big dose, I'd be a little bit more concerned about that versus, you know, you just finished working out and you got to get your protein shake in right afterwards. You know, timing gets more important as your goals narrow and you get a little bit more dialed in and what you're specifically trying to do. But don't be super concerned about the timing of your protein. You know, look at protein as getting into that at least 0.8, 0.9 gram per pound of body weight. That's what you need to kind of hit all these things and make it do its job in your body, especially when you're in that calorie deficit and you're trying to lose some weight. And if you have questions about that, shoot me a DM. You know, I'd love to talk about it more with you, what your exact needs may be. If you like these videos, like and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Keep sending me some questions. I love those DM questions. And, you know, I get a lot of questions on a regular basis. A lot of them can be situationally dependent, but I like to just cover things in a broad range like this. Look for this week too. I do some videos on what are some good portable high protein snacks. What are things we can kind of combine that will give us that right amount of amino acids, especially if we're not eating a lot of animal-based proteins, so that we complete our protein profile and our amino acid profile. But keep the questions coming. I'm enjoying doing these. Hope everybody's enjoying the content as well. See you soon.